Hey everyone, it's SavaniSis again, and today we're going to talk about diversion versus distraction. Now stay tuned to the end of this video because we're going to share how to divert your strong negative thoughts to positive ones so that you can generate those good feelings. And you know what happens when we generate good feelings and activate Sukha, Kash?
Yes, you draw in more good stuff in your life, and that's when the magic begins.
So stay tuned, it's easier than you think. Kashmir, do you know, have you ever had that moment where you're walking down the street or you could be driving the car and you're doing something which doesn't require much conscious thought, and what happens is that you start thinking about an event or situation that happened in the past that was unpleasant for you?
Yes,
yeah,
that has definitely happened.
It's happened to me too.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you've had a really unpleasant conversation with somebody and you're playing that conversation in your head again and again and thinking about what you could have said to them, or why did they say this to you, or all the things that you wanted to say at the time and
but
you didn't.
Couldn't say it.
So you're saying it in your head
exactly,
instead.
right.
Yeah.
So you're having the argument in your head.
And what does that generate when you have that?
It generates horrible feelings, negative feelings, feelings of frustration, anger, disappointment, upset.
And you just can't snap out of it.
Exactly, you can't snap out of it.
And why can't you snap out of these thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you why you can't snap out of these thoughts. These negative thoughts that you've been thinking has gained momentum. Imagine that your thoughts are on a freight train. That freight train is going at 200 miles per hour. It's going at warp speed. It will be very difficult to pull the brakes on it.
So same way is when you have a momentum of these negative thoughts going through your head, if you were to try and think positive thoughts, what would happen is momentarily you'll think positive, but you'll very quickly go back to those negative thoughts again. I've tried this and I know that's what happens, is you just flip a little bit for a few seconds sometimes, not even minutes, seconds, and you go back to those negative thoughts again.
Exactly, because there's a strong magnetic pull of those negative thoughts. You flip back to what you were thinking before.
So this moves us nicely to the difference between diversion versus
and distraction.
So distraction is when the example of you walking down the street and having those negative thoughts. A distraction is when somebody across the street, for example, calls out and says, "Hey, Charlie!" And all of a sudden, in that moment in time, you're distracted from those thoughts and you're looking across the road and saying hello to your friend.
Yes.
Now, at that moment in time, you stop thinking those thoughts. So that's a distraction. But what happens after you've had your little chit-chat with your friend, you go back to those thoughts because they had gained momentum, that energy is still there.
Yes.
And so it's very easy to be pulled back like a magnet back to those thoughts. Snapped back, exactly.
Yes.
So what is diversion then? Well, think of diversion as more long-term compared to distraction. So diversion is when you're holding your attention somewhere else long enough so that the momentum of those bad thoughts diminishes. So diversion is something that requires will and intention and focus. You have to decide that I no longer want to think these bad thoughts, but rather than thinking I don't want to think that,
because that's resistance.
Yes, and when you have resistance, it's funny, but the don't part of it, you end up putting more attention on it.
And it persists.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. Right now, don't think of a pink elephant.
What just came up in your mind, guys? Was it an image of a pink elephant? I'm sure it was.
Even if it's a quick flash. I guarantee you probably thought of a pink elephant. So to resist bad thoughts is actually counterproductive. All you want to do is let those thoughts be there and just divert your attention and focus onto something else. Rather than trying to think positive thoughts, just put your attention on something that you find interesting.
Something you're passionate about, something you love.
Something that you might find interesting. Even if you're finding it difficult, something that's mildly interesting
Or
will be a good start. Yeah, or stimulating. Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
So now, this is the crucial bit. Are you all listening?
Yes.
This is the step-by-step ways of how to diminish that momentum of bad thoughts. And why do we want to do that in the first place? Because we want to feel good. And why do we want to feel good? Feeling good, it's a feeling universe. You'll just draw in more good events,
Situations, purple circumstances
into your life. And don't we all want that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, step 1, you have to be aware and recognize that you're having those thoughts.
In the first place.
Yes. If you don't know you're having those thoughts, you're too much in your head, and you're not aware of it, then how are you going to do anything about it in the first place, right? So the sooner you gain this awareness, the better. Now, how do you gain awareness earlier on in the momentum of those bad thoughts? Well, it's through practice. Practicing self-awareness. Practice watching your thoughts every now and again throughout the day. Practice being present in what you're doing.
And notice how
every
you
now and again.
feel.
And notice how you feel. Yes, that's it. When you are aware, what you're going to do is you're simply going to watch, observe those thoughts. You may even laugh at them. I know I have. If I've had these thoughts again and again come up in my life, I'll say, ha, not you again. Oh, there you go again. You know, and it's kind of funny because it's funny how the human mind works, you know, and how our thoughts work and how we can work ourselves up to feeling so stressed or anxious or scared or upset or angry simply by our thoughts. You can laugh at it, you know, you can laugh at being human, you know, but be kind to yourself. So one thing not to do when you're doing this process of step 1 is don't judge yourself, don't beat yourself up about it, don't feel guilty, don't condemn. All you're doing is observing, and if you want to laugh at them, that's okay too. Step 2. Well, we're talking about diversion here, remember. So then ask yourself a question. Now, it's so important to ask yourself empowering questions. I feel like we don't do it enough.
No.
But if you ask yourself a question, your brain will automatically be looking for an answer, right? And that in itself can snap you out of those bad thoughts for that moment. So that's a distraction by asking yourself the question. So you ask yourself, what is it that I love to do? What is it that I haven't done in a while that I love doing? Or what is it that I feel passionate about, or even slightly passionate? What is it that I find interesting or slightly interesting?
Or an activity in the past that you've done that's made you feel good. Do more of that.
Yes, that's it. So think about, what is it in the past that I've done that brought me a lot of joy? It could be something that you might have even done as a teenager and you've not done in a long time, depending on what your age is, right? So ask yourself those questions. If you can, write them down. Write all the things that you find passionate about, interesting, that you love to do, that's made you giggle, that's made you laugh, that's made you feel good inside, that's made you just smile. Write those things down. It's actually good to do this as an exercise because then you have a menu of activities that you can choose from next time this happens. And then decide, step 3, which activity you're going to do from that list. Now, examples could be drawing, painting, arts and crafts, reading a very interesting book, but listening to some music in the background. It's important to fill your mind, fill the gaps in. The other thing is you could do a sport, something that you haven't done for a while. You can dance. You can listen to uplifting music that just gets your vibe up. You know, everyone's got tunes where they just listen to it and they just want to get up and dance. Puzzles, crossword puzzles. I've got one on my phone and that keeps me entertained sometimes. So crossword puzzles or neuro brain kind of puzzles that you can get apps for. It's very easy. Playing a board game with someone. You know, when was the last time we played a board game? Everything's computerized, but play a board game. You might have an old board game sitting in your
like Scrabble or Monopoly or Pictionary.
Yeah. So anything. We're just giving some examples. None of these examples might appeal to you. It doesn't matter. If you find something that you find passionate about, or doing some research on the internet, a new recipe idea, or decide, right, I'm going to bake a cake, I'm going to create. Yeah, the key thing is just do something that you find that you can engage and focus your attention on. And the more creative it is, the better. But don't worry if you can't find something highly creative. Anything that you're going to find interesting. Now, when you do that activity long enough, what you're doing is your energy and attention is going into that activity. You're immersing yourself in it. It's like when artists are painting. They're painting and they might have some music in the background and they're just immersed in the activity so long that they even forget to eat.
Yes, they're in the state of flow.
And that's where you want to be, because we are creative beings. So to find something creative, which is the ideal thing, is where you want to be, because that's where the power lies. You know, that's where you can focus all your energy and attention on in creating something. And when you do this long enough, the momentum of those bad thoughts will diminish. In fact, you may even forget what you were thinking about. You know, what was it that made me feel so awful before? I don't even remember. The key thing is you do it long enough so that your diversion, and that's what diversion is, it's a long enough. Think of it as a distraction, but a long-term distraction. That's what you're doing. And you're diverting your attention long enough so that those thoughts completely diminish. Now, when you get to that place where you've diverted your attention on something else that you like, what's going to happen is when you're doing something that you like or feel passionate about or creative about, you're going to start feeling good inside, right?
Yes, you start feeling good.
Yeah. And if you start feeling good, that's the key. That's a moment where you want to build on positive
Harness
thoughts.
those thoughts.
Yes.
And what happens by law? You end up pulling and drawing in more like-minded thoughts. Those thoughts obviously were positive because now it's finally making you feel better than how you were feeling before. So you want to milk it. So first thing you attract is more like-minded thoughts. Second thing you start attracting is circumstances, situation, people and events that give you more of that feeling.
And that's when you live a magical life.
Exactly. And this is amazing because this is another way of being at cause over your reality. Now you have a tool at your disposal, at your mental fingertips of how you can divert your negative ball of energy and be able to switch and focus it to a positive.
Whoa, that's major. Does that mean that we're powerful beings, that we have control over how we think and feel?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, Minna.
Wow. Aren't we amazing? Not we, but, you know, the human race.
The human race. This is a huge, powerful phenomena, guys. So this is how you start to be at cause over your life and life can become magical.
So next time you have the momentum of bad thoughts, think about distraction versus diversion. And what you want is diversion, because that's what's going to switch your negative thoughts to positive. And it's a gradual process. If you realize it's not going to be instantaneous, but the benefits are going to be huge, because now you've done something that's going to generate more of those positive feelings. And we all want to feel good, right?
Exactly. That's what this YouTube channel is all about. That's what SavaniSis is all about. That's what this whole world is about. That's why you guys are here. It's so you can feel better and better and gooder and have
gooder and gooder
cool life.
So stay tuned for more videos on how to feel good and activate that Sukha.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button below. We're always creating new videos for you every week. And we will see you on the next video. Bye for now.